But and even in the crime, you will see this in crime too. You see, when I was in London, I used to deliver food, and I once went to a neighborhood, and it was basically a setup. They had ordered food just to rob people's motorbikes. But when I was delivering food, I was again reverse psychology. I was dressing like a criminal myself, shiesty on and all black, and I don't even look like a delivery guy. So there was about 5 guys, and it's a neighborhood that was it's an entry, but there's no exit. It's the only entry and exit. So there was 5 guys waiting for me at the door, like young guys. So I would look for ghost, caught live, haunted house, caught ghost. I was interested about this stuff for some reason, out of fear. So I started to search these things, and then it will always bring me to like jinn story. What are jinn? Ghost in Islam and things like that. And then I will make the connection. Oh, Islam, yeah, that's what I was interested about. And so I will start looking into those things, and I would say that the first thing that made me more interested about the deen, it was fear of the unseen world. The average talib al Muslim practicing, he's not gonna know how to respond to that old lady. He's like, yes, I'm sorry, how you doing? And I've seen this a lot of practicing brothers. They don't know how to interact with somebody who is not Muslim practicing talib al. Akhi, you have to be able to sit down. You have to be able, it's a skill to sit down with a person that you don't share no habits, no similarities, and be able to talk to them for 30 minutes. It's because you will see Allah Azza wa Jal using in the Quran al-fi'l, which is the action, the verb of action of doing, as somebody who does it with, most of the times, as somebody who does it with no intention. But al-amal, as somebody who does it with intention. You could say, you can see sometimes in the Quran, yaf'alun, they do, but they just do it because they did it, and they not rewarded for it. But you ta'amal, and you do the action intentionally, seeking the reward from Allah, seeking the forgiveness of Allah, then Allah Azza wa Jal will count that as amal.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to another Fair Income episode. Today we had a guest we've been looking to have on, one of our dream guests for the past 3 to 4 years. Subhanallah, his name is Muhammad Al-Andalusi. We've got a little bit of twinge on the name as well, But today, this is a podcast. I genuinely believe that everybody who's looking to be an entrepreneur, everybody who's looking to become a talib al-ilm, that's the word, needs to be watching in order for them to be on the right track, in order for them to know what's going on and what to expect. And I'll just let the podcast speak for itself. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good
Fair Income. My cousin in New York, he called me not long ago. We didn't speak for years. He said, "What happened to you, Muhammad? You became like we don't hear from you. People don't realize my life is pretty much like 12, 14 hour, especially this year, working on the laptop, running under the institute, making it better, redeveloping, fixing stuff, curriculum, talking to the team, and then my stuff, my life, my family, and so on. Other than that, I don't do anything else really.
no travel, no
travel, but when
time.
I travel, it's for family. Take my kids. Last time I went to Senegal. I took them to Spain as well, but again, it was to see my father who was at the hospital. I saw my childhood friends, which I didn't see for a long time, but it was when I put my children to sleep, and then I went to see them for an hour or two.
Subhanallah.
So according to the most majority of people, I'll probably live a very boring lifestyle too. That's what people imagine.
It's all about the eye of the beholder, as they like to say. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So if that lifestyle works for you, subhanallah, and who's to say that it's not the right way to live? You know what I mean?
I actually prefer it like this because I tend to be I was studying FISA as well. I run out of social battery very fast. Not because of any reason, but because of the fact that I'm very focused on my mission. That anything else, it takes me a good let's say if I do a podcast, I'm the type of person I will continue to think about what has been said. My brain can't stop,
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like? Do you ever just get exhausted? Do you feel like you're burning both ends of the candle?
Yeah, many times I get burnt out from time to time, every month or so. Then I just stop. I maybe take a morning off. I was gonna say a day off, but yeah, take a morning off, and I generally enjoy it. It's I've came across across the years, I came to realize that I like building, I like making things that then people can benefit and make it part of their lifestyle. So to I don't know, learn the Arabic language or whatever it might be. In our program, in this case, learn the Arabic language, make money, learn how to become disciplined and so on.
So let's talk about the mission. I don't know if you're happy to share that,
Sure, yeah.
inshallah, but I'd love to like lay it all out, inshallah, to the, as I like to say, to the universe and see how we go,
Yeah,
inshallah. So,
for sure.
what's the mission, Akhi?
Well, I have a personal mission, which is my life mission, and then I have the the mission for the public, which directly impacts my personal mission. But me personally, I started it's almost like my real life, my adult life started when I was 18, which is when I went to Egypt. And so I learned the Arabic language, and I came to realize that this is a lifestyle that I want to live by, which is the lifestyle of a student of knowledge, the lifestyle of just basically just surrounding or everything that runs in your life is because of knowledge and towards knowledge. So when I decided that, I had a baby, and then I started to realize that I need to work. I had never worked before that, and my parents were taking care of me for the first 2 or 3 years of me studying in Egypt. They were sending me about $200 to $400 a month, which today I'm still surprised how much I could do with only $200 to $400, and just being by myself and my wife and my daughter in Egypt. So once I had my daughter, then life started to get serious, and I was like, yo, I gotta. My parents told me you gotta figure out how you're gonna take care of your family and so on. And so then I started to have my back and forth about business and what should I do to earn money, but at the same time, I always used to look for location freedom, like because I want to stay here at that time in Egypt, and I want to continue my studies and so on. So everything was towards making money online. So yeah, I did many different type of businesses, many type of different business models,
Mm-hmm.
and then I came to realize, and Allah literally guided me. It's almost like He allowed me to do all of these different business models, and I gathered different skills. And then at one point I was like, why not just you know like open a university, which is essentially under this institute right now. Open an institute that's well recognized. So my initial goal has always been me seek knowledge. I'm selfish from that regard. Like I want to seek knowledge. If anything is taking time away from that, then I need to figure out how it shouldn't take time away from me. And so my personal goal is to generally invest money to a point where I can just live off my investments, and I generally don't have to work anymore. So that's what my personal goal is, to get to a point where I can live off my investments, just spend time and teach my children.
Mm-hmm.
I want a lot of children as well. I don't know why the number 36 does ring a bell, and I really love the number 36. But I want a lot of children, and I want to instill this love for knowledge in them,
Well,
and then the public mission for what people knows me for is just bring back the dawah to the Spanish world, really, because in Spain it's like it's nothing going on, man. It's very, like, I can't even mention to you like more than two people that I know that give dawah, and even them, they're not even that active,
SubhanAllah.
So I would like to take time off to me continue to learn to a point where hopefully when I get there where I don't have to work,
Mm-hmm.
I can just sacrifice my lives to bring the dawah into the Spanish world, and hopefully make it similar to the English world, because the English world, you guys don't realize, but you guys have, mashallah, a lot going on. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of generations of young Muslims who went to study, came back, gave dawah, and so and a lot of content as well in English. But in Spanish, there's barely any content. So I would like to be hopefully hopefully push youngsters, and hopefully even invest into youngsters for them to go study and do something for the dawah in Spanish.
SubhanAllah.
That's the long term goal.
Inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the adhans in
I mean,
may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant the adhans to be rung in the south of Spain again, inshallah. I visited the Alhambra Masjid, and subhanAllah, like my mind was blown when I saw the section where the Islamic influence was. I don't know if you've ever visited, subhanAllah, you're pretty sure you've been there a couple times, probably more than a couple.
Yeah, no, just
Subhanallah.
once. Alhamra, yeah, one day.
SubhanAllah, and the beautiful thing about it was, and everybody says this when they visit, they're like, there's the British influence side, and then there's the Arab, the Muslim influence side, and everyone says that the Muslim is like far greater because of the attention to detail and because of the ihsan that's like reflected in the actual architecture and the landscape, subhanAllah. But I feel like there is an opportunity there, subhanAllah, because there's roots, you know?
Yeah.
Someone just needs to plant the seeds.
Especially in the South. In the South, people, you can even feel they are more open to just dawah and to just... It all starts in Spain, it all starts by accepting other than white people. Because the racism is just different than any other place. Like, I see that in social media. I just open a very like a dummy Spanish account, and I basically don't even put any effort. I just respond to comments, to racist comments, and videos get a bunch of views. There's one. I only got one in my actual social media of 6 years running, making content and so on. There was only one video that got 1.6 million views. Well, actually, no, that's not true. There was other videos in the Arabic space, learn Arabic sentence by sentence, stuff like that. But that because it was not ran by me, it was by a brother that was doing that. But nevertheless, I started this account. It barely has 3,000 followers, and I only respond to like racist comments and stuff. And there's a video that got already 1.1 million views in Spain. And so Spanish, they are very, in general, they are very against immigration. Which is obviously, in every country they have this, but Spain is just different. I don't know how to put it in words. They just don't like Muslims, man. They have a very bad reputation over there.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah.
When I see it from the outside, like looking in, for example, when I see the stuff like they're supporting Palestine and stuff like that, like they're they're on the front line, subhanAllah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would have been like an indicator that they don't hate Muslims. But I guess because I think Christianity is so intertwined in the culture, it might feel like a bit of a threat to them. Possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. If I even made a video and I was saying, I'm so surprised how supportive they are. And when I see things like this, I always know that there's some economical. There must be some, because even France, seeing the president of France support that much Palestine, I'm like, why? Like, what is I just don't trust. I just don't trust. I don't know why. But in Spain there's definitely a lot of people, and again I might be wrong, but that's just because of, I guess I'm biased because of how I grew up and everything. I guess I have trauma of racism and stuff in Spain. But I'm very happy. And I even made a video and I said I was very happy of the support they given and so on. But yeah, in the generations, mostly older generations, and of course, social media and people in the comments never represents what the average person really is about. But I would love to see it, man. And the new generations of Spanish, you can, like, younger people, they kind of know the obvious thing that no, all Muslims are terrorists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And younger people, they start to be a little bit more exposed to, social media, to other people, and, like stars becoming Muslim and things like that. But still, there's still a lot of work to do in Spain, subhanAllah.
May Allah make it easy, inshallah, for our brothers and sisters in Spain.
Ameen.
I want to come back and touch on the topic of your early life and childhood and stuff like that. But I did want to ask, did early Muhammad, did you think that you would be on the same path that you are right now?
Nah, to be honest, man, I thought I was gonna be a professional basketball player or or a rapper or something. But life really took a 180 turn for me that I didn't realize. But everything's from Allah. It was a literally hidayah from Allah Azza wa Jal. But but Allah really guided me towards the path of knowledge. Regardless of the level that I would have liked to attain, or the amount of time that I would have liked to spend on a day-to-day basis, just being on the path, i.e., realizing that this is what I need to prioritize in my life. Like Ibn Qadam al-Maqdisi, he says, وَكَانَ السَّلَفُ يُؤْثِرُونَ الْعِلْمَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. And the Salaf, they used to give priority to knowledge above everything. So once you realize that knowledge is really what you should be doing, then it affects your whole everything. It affects how you want to get closer and closer and look more and live more like the early generations of Muslims. So it starts to change how you talk, how you behave, how you wear, how you look. And yeah, I didn't expect that at all. And people around me, nobody expected it. My family, my friends, nobody. But it was only a khair, and I can see that it had affected a lot of people around me. Towards good.
Can I ask what age was the transformation?
17, 18.
And it was out of nowhere, or was there something that inspired you?
Well, the thing is that when I went I think traveling, it did benefit a lot, because when I was 12 is the first time that I left my mom's house, and I went to live with my sister for about 2 years, and then I came back to my mom, and then at 14 I moved to France with my father.
Okay.
And so in France, when I first got to France, again, Spain, the community of Muslims is they're very disconnected, I would say, from Islam. Everybody, even this last time, I felt like the pressure from the society in Spain, because there's not many practicing Muslims, is heavier than the da'wah. And so Muslims, they tend to want to what's the word?
Assimilate.
That's not the word I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to want to kind of like incorporate themselves in the society,
Mm-hmm.
and merge themselves in
Yeah.
the society, where they will see if you wearing a thobe, they will look at you like, you say salam alaikum, say hola. Say, "Ya akhi, اسمك عبد الرحمن." What do you mean hola?
Yeah, wallah.
They would, no, my name is not Abdurrahman, it's Abdiki or something. They would change their name, and they would start doing this weird stuff. And so that was the case when I was in Spain. Then when I went to France is completely different, and it's almost it's reverse psychology, because when the government is directly attacking Muslims in this niqab, no ban, no hijabs in school, not permissible, this attack to a Muslim, this that, what makes is that now Muslims are more together, and it makes them feel more like, yo, they're attacking us, oh, let's get together. And so youngsters in friends, they tend to be more proud, even if they're not practicing. They don't care. They don't talk about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let's go to a nightclub. It's like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, no, I love my deen, but daily they say, daily, may Allah, pray for me. But and even in the crime, you will see this in crime too. You see, when I was in London, I used to deliver food, and I once went to a neighborhood, and it was basically a setup. They had ordered food just to rob people's motorbikes. But when I was delivering food, I was again, reverse psychology. I was dressing like a criminal myself, chai tea on and all black, and I don't even look like a delivery guy.
Mm-hmm.
So there was about five guys, and it's a neighborhood that was it's an entry, but there's no exit. It's the only entry and exit. So there was five guys waiting for me at the door, like young guys. So they were confused as I was entering, because they were like, "Wait, is this from us or is it?" And then when I continued after a good 20 minutes, they started yelling. So I stand up, and they started coming to me with a big machete like this. I don't know what they pronounce it in English, machete,
Mhm.
because it's Spanish anyways.
Yeah. We say
Machete,
machete, yeah, but
machete, yeah.
but
It's called a machete, a
machete,
machete.
yeah.
And so
I watch Nacho Libre, don't worry.
and so over there in London, it's known that they will stab you and then rob you,
Yeah.
right? Because the immigrants that do this, their asl and their background, their religion, it's not it's just not Islam, and their religion might be a little bit more, they just their people don't follow any religion per se.
Mm-hmm.
But in France, there's no stabbings, no killings, no criminals. They will come, they will jump you. And criminals, they all called Abdurrahman, Muhammad, Abdul Aziz, and they will come, they will jump you, they will beat you up, they might break a tooth or whatever it might be. But if it comes to killing you, they'll probably say, "No, haram, ya akhi, no, don't do it, haram." And so you can see how Islam, even if the person is not practicing in France, it has an effect on a lot of people, even the worst of them.
Mm.
So when I went to France and I started school there, they were surprised that because at that time it was the 2000s, and I was very influenced by the hip hop culture in the US.
Okay.
So I will have my big, fitted cap and my big tee matching with my Air Forces,
Uh-huh.
and
You're a
big
FUBU?
baggy, yeah, FUBU, and Eco Unlimited, and Saint Paul, Saint John, and so in school they were surprised that my name was Mamadou, which is a very common Senegalese name.
Mm.
But Mamadou is like, I don't know. It's like, let's say you see like a white guy, Australian white guy, and he says, "My name is Abdirrahman Hassan." You're like, "What? Your name is not Abdirrahman." So when they will see me and I will say Mamadou, they will say, "Come on, man, you lie. What you mean?" Then I'll have to explain. My father's Senegalese, my mom's Spanish. Oh, you mixed. Oh, okay. And the next question was, "Oh, so you Muslim?" And they will always put me against the wall because uh, I don't know. I guess so. My father is Muslim, but I never grew up practicing. My parents didn't force us to pray or anything like that. And so when I got to France, that started to make me think about it and like question myself, and so youngsters there, you would it was kind of like that thing, like the cool guys in school, like they bad, and when you're young, the cool guys is those the worst guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like they cool and this and that, but then when you hear them talk about religion or Islam, or if somebody insults the prophet in school, they beat him up, and they ask you if you go to masjid and stuff. It makes you start like seeing Islam as a cool thing, like, oh, youngsters doing it too, and it's no more what your father does at home. And so all of that started making me just interested. It was just like, little drops of interest in my heart from time to time as I was in France, which was about 2 years and a half. And then little by little, I would, that was the time when YouTube started to, or at least I came across YouTube around those times. So I would look for ghost caught live, haunted house caught ghost. I was interested about this stuff for some reason,
Yep.
out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to search these things, and then it will always bring me to like jinn story, what are jinn, ghost in Islam and things like that. And then I will make the connection. Oh, Islam, yeah, that's what I was interested about. And so I will start looking into those things, and I would say that the first thing that made me more interested about the deen, it was fear of the unseen world.
Mm.
And so again, research after research after research. And then Allah Azza wa Jal just continues to guide you little bit by little bit, until I met a brother that I didn't see for a long time in the street, and I saw him wearing a white thobe, and I was like, what are you wearing, man? I didn't see you for a long time. We used to dance together, hip hop dancing, always this crump dancing at that time. And we used to go somewhere every Sunday, and he stopped coming all of a sudden. So
Yeah.
for a long month, I didn't see him. Then I bumped on up to him on the in the street, and he was wearing a white thobe. And I said, "What where were you?" And this and that. He said, "Yeah, I'm practicing Muslim. This that. Come to the house. I'll show you something." So he showed me students in Medina University, and this is the first time that I saw students of knowledge. They were young and they were black as well, which was something that as well was you know having a problem with growing up in Spain. There's not many black people, there's not many brown people, there's not many immigrants per se. And so when I went to friends, now I started hanging around, people my color, and I wasn't feeling the same racism that I was feeling in Spain and so on. So when I saw those students of knowledge, they were as well from London, from the UK, Jamaican, and they had a little swag going on with them and so on. I started looking at the deen more
Yeah.
cool, but at the same time, I was generally interested, and I came across this whole thing of like seeking knowledge, and so all of these started to fascinated me. And this brother, he brought me to his local masjid, and it was again a very active youth led masjid, and there was a lot of knowledge things going on and things like that. And that's where I met a brother there who told me there was an intensive program happening in Egypt. And from there, I just said, I'm going, man. I'm interested about it. So I went to Egypt. And then once you're in Egypt, you see all of these students. You see shuyukh. You meet people from everywhere. Stories from everywhere. And that's when you realize, like, yo, I want to live this type of lifestyle, man, for the rest of my life.
So the environment really matters.
Yeah, for sure. Environment. I was just telling the other brothers. They asked me at the end of the podcast, what advice would you give for the youth here to change and start becoming better? And I said 3 things. Taqwa, which is the typical generic cliche type of advice. Yeah, just be righteous, fear Allah. But youth is like, okay, but what do I do, Sheikh? Like, where do I go from here? Okay, I fear Allah. How do I fear Allah? And I said the 2 practical things is seek knowledge. Knowledge even if you don't know how to just find the halaqat, the gatherings of knowledge, just sit there. Just انتظم لازم. Just stay there, sit there, don't do anything else, and just be intentional, sincere. Allah Azza wa Jal will bless you. Let alone the hadith and the riwayat that the angels put their wings on students of knowledge and the students of knowledge, and the barakah there is. And then second thing, I mentioned the hadith of the man who killed 99 people, and then he asked about the most knowledgeable priest, and then the priest said, "No, you're not gonna be forgiven, man. 99 people, that's too many people. He killed that guy too. Now he got 100 people. He looked for another knowledgeable person. He came to an Islamic scholar, and he told him, you can be forgiven, but you have to go to this land where there's people that worship Allah. Stay with them and don't come back to your land, because it's a bad land for you." And so that's what he intended to do. He died in the Rewire is a long hadith. People can go and check it out on themselves. But the point is that scholars, they take this to show that, first of all, the importance of hijrah and going into an environment that's Islamic, because it helps you into just being a better Muslim, and just staying there and generally just staying there. Hearing the adhan every day is not the same thing. Opening the door and seeing your neighbor and he says, "Assalamu alaikum, halak, mashallah, you need anything from me?" These are, it's your children, they do something bad in the street, they will punish them according to Islam. I mean, somewhere else they might just let them be. Oh, they're just kids. Let them do this fahish thing to this woman. They're just kids. In Muslim culture, where's his father? Let me call his father. I remember I was myself in Saudi, in Mecca, literally in Batha Quraysh, just what, not even 3 kilometers away from the Kaaba. I was living there for about a year, and I saw a French kid fighting with some Saudi kid, some Sudani kid, and I'm the one that stopped them. I was like, "Hey, what happened?" "No, he insulted my mom, this, that." When he said that I seen something my mom, I was like, oh, man, what you saying his mom? No, he said I was black, this and but somewhere else, they might look at these kids, they might say, just let them just kill
Yeah.
and let them fight, whatever.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, man.
The environment is very important,
Yeah.
subhanAllah. So, from what I'm hearing, mashallah, bro, up until you were 18, you finally had left to go and study
Yeah.
the deen in Egypt. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Before that, you sounded like you were pretty much hopping from country to country, subhanAllah, as a youth in your very formative years. Do you feel like it played a big part in who you are today? Or do you feel like it might have impacted you in a more negative sense?
No, traveling. I mean, even Imam Shafi'i, he has a very known poem about traveling and the benefits of traveling, and in general, in short, and the whole meaning that he brings in his poem is that he said تغرب, like just be alone and travel, because you're gonna become more mature. You're gonna see things. You become more wise. You're gonna experience things. That's how you become more mature and you learn things. So traveling is definitely something that again, scholars like Imam Shafi'i um, have advised with. And me having traveled, I can tell you that from amongst this one particular thing, which is seeing different cultures. And again, you said this brother who has a traveling channel and so on. You can see people who has these traveling channels and so on. They tend to be more open minded, more open to cultures, more. And I can tell you that because these last few videos I was telling you that I'm basically teasing racist people in Spain. And I'm posting videos in Spanish. There is one person that follow me that has one point something million followers, and he's a Spanish guy that he started following me from a reel because I saw it. And that reel, I'm basically responding to somebody who told me you're not Spanish because I was wearing a thobe and I'm not white and so on. And I was responding. It was a long response, and he started following me from that video. Now the average Spanish person, he will see that and he will probably go with the racist person, or he would just like say, yeah, well, the point is he would not be as flexible or as supportive, because following from a video like that, you can say that he's supportive and he liked the way how I responded. And that's what happens when you travel. If you travel, you get more open minded about just the most simple things. Like today, we were walking around downtown Melbourne, and and I'm European, so I walk on the right side.
Yep.
But I noticed that people, they stay on my right side. And so then I started to realize, wait, why is people? And sometimes it happened that it was a little awkward, and the person looked at me like, "You like move around." I think even some ladies started yelling at us or something, saying something like, "Yo, you guys walking in the middle of the."
Yeah.
So things like that makes you, like, if you look at the bigger picture of that, putting yourself in situations like that in different countries forces you to to have insaf, which is something that is very important when it comes to the practice of Islam, which is being understanding of the other person. And under that, there's many different things that fall under, which is just self-awareness,
Emotional
knowing
intelligence.
yourself, emotional intelligence, knowing how to, even for dawah, knowing, understanding the other person, where he comes from, why he is angry, how not to react on somebody being angry, which ties to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Laysa al-qawiyyu is not the strong person, the person that knows how to wrestle, but the person that contains himself on the anger. And so it ties into so many branches of self-growth and self-development that it can only be beneficial. Now imagine somebody who never moves from his comfort zone. All he does is wake up every day, go see the same type of people, share the same type of culture, and then he goes to his house, he sees videos of some person saying something that is the complete opposite of what you know in your culture. The first thing you're gonna say, man, that's not right, man, that's not. And so you stay in a lane for the rest of your life that you are not, you just not cultured, as they say, right? As cliche as it sounds,
Yeah.
you just a knucklehead. Like you cannot sit with somebody who you don't have nothing to do, and you don't know how to interact with people. And I've seen this with a lot of practicing people. And I think Tierno, he told me this morning, using that white lady, he said, how are you doing today? The average Talib ilm Muslim practicing, he's not gonna know how to respond to that old lady. He said, yes, so how you doing? And I've seen this in a lot of practicing brothers. They don't know how to interact with somebody who is not Muslim practicing Talib ilm. Ya akhi, you have to be able to sit down. You have to be able, is a skill, to sit down with a person that you don't share no hobbies, no similarities, and be able to talk to them for 30 minutes. And that's actually a skill that professional operators or professional secret intelligence operators, which are the most skilled social intelligence, social awareness type of people in the world, which that's the old skill they work on. They have a very common expression. They say you have to be any man to any man. You have to be any man to any man, i.e. you have to be able to, if you're about to, collect the intel from a group of Muslims, you have to be able to learn how they are, speak their language, sit with them, be able to maintain a conversation, and they don't even feel like you are, not amongst them, and so on.
You're a gharib or something, yeah.
No, so this is a skill that is just a personal development type of skill, knowing how to connect with people.
100%. Even from like not only the dawah perspective, also from the business perspective, that's actually really, really important. Especially if you, and obviously, mashallah, you're living in the Emirates now, subhanallah. Like even when you're living in some place like that, which is like a melting pot of cultures and religions. And I remember I've never seen a Russian person in my life until I went to Dubai. And then I see Russian people everywhere, subhanAllah. I'm just like, I was bugging out because I'm like, what's the culture like? And, some places, for example, i.e. Western Sydney, when you go to Sydney, inshallah, everybody looks at you like this. They size you up and you'll notice it. These people don't mean any harm. Just the way that they are in Western Sydney in comparison to Melbourne. Melbourne's a lot more easygoing. We'll say salam alaikum, we'll smile, we'll shake your hand. Everybody else is doing this.
Are you talking about Muslims or not?
Muslim Sydney, yeah, Sydney Muslim. So I think more so the Lebanese community. This is my community, subhanAllah. But if you were to go there and you didn't know anything about them and you come from a place like Melbourne and you've only met people from Melbourne, you'll see them and the way they act and you'll just be like, such rude people, there's no akhlaq, there's no adab, you know what I mean? But then subhanAllah, like once you actually like break the ice with these brothers, they're probably the most like hospitable, nice, amazing people you ever meet, subhanAllah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, if you're not exposed to it, subhanAllah, it's gonna be a difficult journey for you.
Literally. And that's amongst the things they you can realize as well, going to different countries, going to Russia, going to the Middle East, going to different places in Africa. They even have, like, obviously, again, secret intelligence operation and professional operators, they tend to study everyone, right, and every culture and so on. So they know how to be any man to any man. And so, the amount of seconds that somebody stares at someone changes from country to country. You go Middle East, obviously, they look at you perhaps maybe 4 seconds before they even turn their face, if they turn it. And if you don't know that, like I remember when I was in Egypt, there was some American brothers, they were just always agitated because they don't realize that's just the culture in Egypt, and it's fine if somebody's looking at you for 5 seconds. Just say something, Assalamu alaikum, and you will realize that they don't do it out of the same thing back in the West, which is like like they looking for beef or something.
Yeah.
So just simple things like that, walking in the street, the side you walk on the street. Some places saying hello is weird to somebody in the street. Some places saying hello to somebody in the street is a beef opening
Yo.
situation. What you mean hello? What you mean what's up? What's up then? What's up? What? Like if you don't learn about people, you are going to be not comfortable in this world first of all, and you're not gonna be able to carry the flag of the prophets and the work of the prophets, which is being a walking dawah. As Aisha radiallahu anha described the Prophet ﷺ as a walking Quran. Like your whole behavior, how you talk, how you interact with people, how they see you, your smile, your face, everything should be according to the Quran and the Sunnah. And amongst these things are from amongst the things, like we always hear the same, be good to people, and these are all very cliche. And if you get a little bit deeper, you will realize that there's a lot of things that we don't do on a day-to-day basis, and it's because we, as individuals, we don't look to grow and personally develop ourselves.
Yeah, I feel like I think the main thing is us as believers, and sometimes like us people get stuck in the West. We don't form the right habits. I feel like the things we do unconsciously are very important. And I don't know if you read Atomic Habits before by I think I can't remember what the author's name is.
Yeah.
It's besides the point. But when he speaks about like how important it is to build habits in your day-to-day life and create like these little minimal wins per day, subhanallah, you start to understand how real it is when it comes to the deen, when it comes to memorization, when it comes to salah, when it comes to sunnahs, when it comes to like your fasting and your dhikr, and even, for example, walking into the bathroom. I know people who struggle to say the correct dhikr to walk in, leave the bathroom, subhanallah, or like say bismillah before they eat. And it's because the habit hasn't been built. Like, what are some of the most important habits that you believe along your journey as talib ilm that you would advise people to make sure that they like?
Yeah, the first is discipline, man. I can't help but throw Bilal under the bus. Because this morning we were walking and I said, from amongst the most beneficial things you can unlock in your life, and once you unlock it, you have control over yourself, is being able to do everything intentionally. Why I said that is because we were in a corner shop, and one of us said, "Yo, you know what would be nice right now? Some drink, something that the other one got some drink with I don't know how many grams of sugar but me, I'm thinking, what does my body need right now? What am I going to be doing for the next hours? When am I going to sleep? How is this going to make me feel? How many calories I have consumed today? How many calories I have burned today? What do I have to do tomorrow? I have a basketball game tomorrow. Is it intelligent for me to eat this right now? And so once you start doing this, you are able to master the art of discipline, which is the only skill required to master any other skill. And any other skill is really any other skill. The skill of being a good Muslim, the skill of learning Arabic, the skill of memorizing the Quran, whatever it might be. And so this is why I said, which I don't think they realize how, because sometimes I feel like I don't want to be too heavy and like just be calling everyone to a dawah discipliniyya all the time. But it's that deep to me. It's so deep, and if you are able to unlock that in your life, which is doing every single thing intentionally, which is the point of innamal a'malu binniyat. If you are able to unlock that, and at least if you are going to get off track of that, at least you are aware. Inshallah, let me just eat 8 hash browns this morning. Like, so
sounds like a precise shot.
So once you're able to unlock that, you're able to basically apply what Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. And whoever fears the day he will stand in front of Allah and continuously forbids his soul from desires and impulses, then Jannah will be his, final destination, final place of rest. And so if you pay attention, somebody who is constantly have that sense of muraqabah and wakes up and thinks, oh, one day I have to stand in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. I have to talk to this person. I gave an amana to this person. One day Allah will ask me about this. I have to do this, whatever it is. One day Allah will ask me about this. If you master that and you master controlling your impulses, which, I like I like the expression of and definition of discipline as being able to choose what you want for tomorrow or the future over what you feel like you want right now. I really want to eat this 8 hash browns and say, no, I'm not going to eat this because I have to record for the rest of the day. And that will make me perhaps be distracted because of the amount of carbs that I have put in my body. So the point is, when you are able to unlock this, Allah, anything you put your mind into, you can achieve. As cliche as it sounds, I have until today, bifadlillah wa qudrati, there's nothing I've told myself, you know what, I'm gonna do this year or this next few months, and I've done it. I was telling Bilal today, this beginning of this year, I said, I'm gonna become a full stack developer. The point was that I wanted to build my own LMS, my own platform. 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, there's an AI software development company that reached out to me saying, you're amongst our most active users in the UAE. We would like to talk to you. Mm-hmm. And obviously I've built my LMS from scratch and it was successful and so on. All of this to say that it all goes from, as you said, these atomic habits and these little details. And subhanAllah, again, I can't help but think of last year when we went there with Hanif. We did a Quran sprint. We call it a Quran sprint, where we take time like for 3-4 months off, and we just go to Mauritania or someplace. Last year it was Mauritania, and just start memorizing Quran. That's all we do.
Yeah. And
so throughout that time is when like I said, I don't interact with many people. That time I was interacting constantly with two brothers. And I'm very intense about certain things that we had back and forth. Like, yo, why you two? This brother, he told me, yo, you're too, he didn't know what to say. Like, very extreme on very little things. Because for me, everything is in the details.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally aligns with that, with atomic habits. But that's what makes you just different in a good way about something in life, is being that daqiq and that extreme on yourself about certain things.
That's what separates you from the general masses. Subhanallah, you're right.
Because the average person would just eat 8 hash browns in the morning for no reason. You know what I mean?
Subhanallah. I feel like there's something going on here, but we're gonna have to take that off the podcast. Subhanallah. I think I always want to shift gears, inshallah, hash browns aside. But we'll just shift gears slightly into like beyond discipline. It kind of brought up this thought to me, like, understanding also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decree and tawakkul. And it's very important in the fact that, like, obviously you're bringing up, alhamdulillah, like that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed for you to have these doors open. MashaAllah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to have those doors open for you and bless you. And there are some people who those doors don't open for. Do you know what I mean? And they continue to knock, but maybe it's not written for them because it's not best for them. And subhanallah, I wanted to ask you, or maybe it's not right for them right now. So I wanted to ask you, what would the word advice be to that person right now who's on that track to trying to get to somewhere or to achieve something, but it's not really happening?
Yeah, my when it comes to change and intentional change, I can't help but think of the people of Yunus, Qawm Yunus, when Yunus came to them and advertised to them and told them that there was a punishment that was going to come if they don't worship Allah and so on. And they didn't believe until they started to see the punishment. And actually, one of the characteristics and specialities of Qawm Yunus is that they were the only people that they saw the punishment, and only when they saw the punishment believed, and Allah Azza wa Jal still forgave them. So that's from amongst all the aqwam that we know in the Quran. That's their difference, is that they saw the punishment, then they repented, and then Allah Azza wa Jal forgave them. All the other aqwam, like for example, Fir'aun, when he saw, that the water was gonna eat him, and so he said, Al-ana, right now I believe. All of the other aqwam, they Allah Azza wa Jal destroyed them. Now Qawm Yunus, why is it so special? And when I think of change, I think of this Qawm, is because once Yunus was inside of a hut, they started to get scared, and they started to believe, and they saw signs that punishment was coming to them. So for 40 nights, according to some narrations, they basically sacrificed their whole life to the worship of Allah, i.e., seeking forgiveness from Allah, and just being humble to Allah Azza wa Jal for 4 nights straight. Then when Allah says in the Quran, فَلَمَّا آمَنُوا, He says when they believed, but Allah says when they believed, but according to the tafsir, it was after 40 nights of continuous ibadah. So Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, حَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ وَقَدْ فَتَنَّا الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Does people really think we're going to let them say, I believe, and we're not going to test them? And we have tested all the different nations before them. And so Allah Azza wa Jal, sometimes He tests you by looking at your consistency. In another ayah, He says, لِنَنْظُرَ كَيْفَ تَعْمَلُونَ. We are going to test you guys to see how you guys ta'amalun. And from amongst the fawaid, and I have to take a side note on this, remind me where I was at, which was Qawm Yunus. But a side note on this is that from amongst the things why I believe that somebody is missing out on so much if they don't learn the Arabic language when it comes to the Quran, is because you will see Allah Azza wa Jal using in the Quran al-fi'l, which is the action, the verb of action, of doing, as somebody who does it with, most of the times, as somebody who does it with no intention. But al-amal, as somebody who does it with intention. So you could say, you can see sometimes in the Quran, يفعلون, they do, but they just do it because they did it, and they not rewarded for it. But if you ta'amal, and you do the action intentionally, seeking the reward from Allah, seeking the forgiveness of Allah, then Allah Azza wa Jal will count that as amal. That's why in the ayat of الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, those who believed and those who عَمِلُوا, intentionally did the action of doing. So that's why Allah Azza wa Jal, when it comes to Qawm Yunus, He says, so when they believed, which is after 40 nights of worship, we removed this khizy, this stress and bad feeling and bad state of them. And it was only after 40 nights of continuous ibadah. So all of this to say that some people, they tend to do the bare minimum or do something, and they think they did enough. وَمَا قَدْرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ. And they will never do enough, as Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran. They will never do what Allah Azza wa Jalla is really worth of doing. And so what I really would tell to this person is, you have to continue to ask for forgiveness, and you have to really show Allah Azza wa Jalla that you really want this, and it has to be a complete change. You have to force yourself. You have to retain yourself, and like forbid your nafs, as we were saying. And sometimes it takes 40 nights of consistency. You know, if you ask that person, most of the time they didn't do it for 40 nights.
Mm-hmm.
They did it for a week, then off, then they lost motivation. Then next month they tried it again, 3 days, then they lost motivation. On the fourth day, they committed a great sin. Perhaps they didn't even ask for forgiveness. Then they tried again, and their life goes like this, on and on and off, and they never really truly do a tawbah nasuha. So Allah Azza wa Jal just continues to look at them and see how, لننظر كيف تعملون. He continues to look at them, see how they do, and Allah Azza wa Jal never sees that their intention with the amal is enough for him to really guide them. And sometimes it's generally if you really sincere, you really doing this tawbah, and Allah doesn't give it to you, then khair. Allah Azza wa Jal is either keeping you from a shar, either gonna give it to you later on in life, either keeping it as a bigger reward for you in al akhirah. So he's never a loss.
Yes, because I was speaking to a friend, and he was going through like a lot of trouble, like financially. He made some silly decisions. Obviously, he fell for the devil, which is the credit card, subhanallah. And I think there was a funny statement that I heard from a movie. Can't remember what movie it was, but the guy goes, "If you don't have it today, you won't have it tomorrow. So don't think that you will. So let that go." Yeah, basically in your head, do not go and buy something with the assumption that you will have it tomorrow, because you won't. And obviously fell. The devil's in the details, subhanallah, and he's in this consistent cycle of having to try and figure out how to pay that debt off. And subhanallah, I think he gave me this really good reflection where he was like to me, I know that my intention is to remove this from me. And it's like genuine, that intention is there. I really want this off me. And it's for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because I don't want to die with that next to my name. And I really am repenting for this. And I'm asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help me alleviate that thing. But he goes, maybe I need to be in this position for a little longer, because I know it's going to get resolved because of my intention. But maybe I need to be in this a little bit longer in order for me to know my place truly in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's
For sure.
in his world and his perspective, subhanAllah.
Yeah, in many cases is Allah wants to see that you really consistent about it, and that you really want it. Many times it is like that. I remember for how long I asked Allah to teach me the Arabic language, and for how long I continue to ask Allah Azza wa Jal to allow me to memorize the Quran. And it's been 12 years, and I still don't have that thing that I really wanted. From amongst my most common du'as to Allah Azza wa Jal, and I say it so perhaps you guys can help me as well. Make dua for me that Allah gives me the hifd of the Quran. But amongst those is doing the hifd of the Quran, and perhaps I haven't been sincere enough. I haven't put enough work. I haven't done enough dua. You know what I mean? So inshallah, as long as he continues to. But one very important thing about the Qawm Yunus is that they, in the Tafsir ibn Kathir, he basically says they changed their clothes, they separated the animals from their mother, from its mothers, like to show Allah that everybody is basically in pain, i.e. they changed their whole lifestyle. They stopped what they were doing just to literally just worship Allah Azza wa Jalla and ask for forgiveness. And so it takes a drastic change sometimes, because many times we say, yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's my intention, but every day you continue to do the same thing that you shouldn't be doing. So sometimes it really takes those type of drastic changes. And I remember in the beginning of my practice, which I had a hadith going on in my mind very often, which was man taraka shay'an lillahi a'wadahu khayran minhu. Whoever leaves something for Allah, Allah will give him something better. And I remember I was very extreme in leaving off things, even things that were halal. I will leave them because I felt like some way or another, indirectly, it was directly connecting me again to something bad. Like, for example, I used to play basketball, and I remember I decided to stop playing basketball because I'm a big trash talker, and I will always get into fights. I will always get into insults. I will always get into, like, generally, I will get, after the game, I will feel so emotionally agitated, and I will go back to my prayers and so on. Especially, those sweet prayers in the beginning of your practice, and I didn't feel good. So
Mm.
I just stopped it. People say, "Why you stop? It's not even haram." So I just don't feel like it. I remember I had like 20 plus pairs of Nikes and Jordans in my house. Every time I would put them on, as I told you, it was the 2000s, so everything had to match.
Yeah, yeah.
The fitted cap with the t-shirt with the shoes. So I had a bunch of shoes, and I give them all away as well, because every time I would dress like that, I will feel a certain way when I'm walking outside in the street. And I didn't, I would read the hadith of the person that has an atom of what's the word in English? An atom
Arrogance. Kibr? Is
of
that
kibr,
arrogance?
yeah. What is it in Arabic? Of
Arrogance.
arrogance, yeah.
Loftiness, yeah.
The person that has an atom of arrogance in their heart is not gonna enter Jannah and so on. And I just generally feel like all of those things were connected. The basketball thing, the how I used to dress and so on. And people would say, "Why are you leaving it? It's not even haram."
Yeah, so
I said, I want to completely change my whole life, and generally show Allah Azza wa Jalla that I'm about it. All the things that I loved, I want to stop it. At that time, I had to tell people, "Yo, listen, this haram is either you accept Islam, either we get married." She said, "No, I don't accept Islam." I said, "All right, cool, bye." I generally changed flipped the whole plate upside down. And sometimes that's what it takes. It's not like, yeah, I have the intention, and inshallah, man, just make dua for me, man. All right, anyways, man, I'm about to hit the nightclub. Inshallah, make dua for me, yeah, Allah forgives me. Nah, you gotta you gotta stop doing this stuff, man. Like,
Mhm.
completely,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Subhanallah. So we've unlocked now that the key is intentionality
Mm.
in
Yeah.
actions, intentionality in that repentance and following it up, subhanallah. How do you keep intentionality? Is it just become a habit, or do you think to yourself, before I drink this water, before I do this lesson, before I speak to this person, before I leave the house, do you sit, reflect for a bit? Do you have your time away? What is it specifically that you do to keep intentionality?
Well, first of all, the Salaf used to say, and there's reports of them saying that amongst the most difficult thing that I have ever done is staying sincere. So that's something that will never stop. That's why the term runs in the tongues of scholars as in tajdeed an-niyya, like renewing your intention. So you have to always renew your intention, and that comes from وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ. Whoever fears standing one day in front of Allah, that's something, this muraqabah, as they call it, this continuous feeling and sense that Allah is watching you, is something that you need to start developing. And you will always have to renew your intention. It's that's the point of the test. Like, you're in this dunya to be tested, and the thing that you are first looked at and asked about is your intentions. إنما الأعمال بالنيات, as the first hadith for all the books of hadith start with this. So we've been taught by our scholars that the amal, the worship, and whatever other action is not accepted except with two things. First, it needs to be mukhlis lillah azza wa jal. It needs to be intentional for Allah azza wa jal. Second of all, it needs to follow the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Otherwise, it's not accepted. So once you know that, and you have this simple knowledge about it, every time you do something significant, obviously that atomic habits we were talking, you should be working on a day-to-day basis about doing things with the intention of pleasing Allah Azza wa Jal. If you're intentional and you don't let things like social media to pollute and corrupt your brain on a day-to-day basis, to the point where you are just not present. You do things out of automation. You go to work, click off, log off work, get home, sit down in front of TV, turn it on until you're tired, go sleep. You never stop and look at the image. Like you live in your life and you see everything as a blurry image. You never step away and say, wait, what about my daily routine? Am I doing every day something that in a year, in 2 years, 5 years is going to allow me to be a better Muslim? Is going to allow me to be closer to Allah Azza wa Jal? Am I even working the job that I want to be working, on a day-to-day basis? I'm doing this thing that I shouldn't be doing in my job. Betty and Erica, they keep telling me about how handsome I look, and should I really be in this situation on a day-to-day basis, or am I just on automation mode every day? I just go and that's just my life. So when you are present, and this was, subhanAllah, some of the Salaf, they used to be very big on al-uzla and solitude, to not be affected by their surroundings. And this is why Ibn Abbas, he said, تفكر في ساعة خير من قيام الليل, أو كما قال رضي الله عنه, that sitting down and pondering for an hour is better than praying the whole night. Because when you sit down and you ponder and you think of where you are at, where you are going, am I even on the right path? Is there something I need to stop? And when you are like that, you are constantly in a state of growth, even if it's little, and as the Prophet ﷺ, he said, خير الأعمال أدومها وإن قل, the best of actions are the continuous ones, even if they are small in portion, small in amount. So once you live like that, and once you are self-aware, as they call it nowadays, you are going to be able to live a more intentional lifestyle, which will allow you to think more about intentions and allow you to renew them better.
I think I do have something to thank you for, subhanAllah. I watched your video. This was like a year ago. It was the one about how to take control of your life. And I think that many people probably share the same sentiment. Watching the video, in the beginning, you said that, first of all, you have to understand that everything is by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wherever you go, however you go about it, whenever you do it, whatever you do, it doesn't even matter if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not willed it. Nothing can stop it, subhanAllah. And it kind of made me reflect, because I was thinking about what direction I wanted to move in my life at the time, subhanAllah. And it put everything into perspective. In the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will have His say. And we're going to have to accept it. And part of being a Muslim is being the one who submits to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yep.
And how well we submit to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the perspective that we have, and obviously husn dhan billah is very, very important, subhanAllah. And I wanted to ask you, when you go through your day-to-day, obviously being an entrepreneur yourself, you can attest to life being a roller coaster, subhanAllah. Especially not knowing where the next avenue is going to come from, subhanAllah. What do you do to make sure that you rectify your day-to-day actions in order for you to maintain that understanding that everything is by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do you is it in the salah, in the fajr, or is it the qiyam al-layl? Is it in the dua? Is it in dhikr? Or what is it that grounds you to that, subhanAllah?
Well, I would say that, first of all, knowledge is very important, and something very particular about knowledge is that if you spend a intentional amount of time seeking knowledge in your life, you will start developing certain patterns in your body that are automatic, and certain beliefs that are automatic. And so, for example, when you were saying this, it reminded me of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he said, أيها الناس, he said, "O people, أجملوا في الطلب, be kind in seeking wealth. فإن نفسا لن تموت حتى تستوفي رزقها." Because a soul will never die until it it accomplished and got all the risk that has been written for it. So like, calm down. It's not because you're gonna set this plan and this strategy. I'm gonna move here. I'm gonna move that. And this person does and plans everything, strategizes everything, forgets that if Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't want it for him, he's not going to accomplish it. And they forget the dua. They forget to start Bismillah Azza wa Jal. They forget that Allah Azza wa Jal generally is aware, and there's not even a leaf from a tree that falls except that he gives the permission for that leaf to fall off that tree. So what about you in your business plans and your study plans or your travel plans or your family plans, and you're not even respecting the boss of this whole creation? So for me personally, again, it's a struggle for everyone, man. It's a struggle for everyone. But one thing I will tell you is that I spend a lot of time alone on a day-to-day basis, like at least 4 hours every single day. That's just how my life is, to the point where I even have my own apartment, even though I have 5 children and multiple families. So I really, I'm a big advocate of time alone as a man, for the right reasons, not to get away from your responsibilities or whatever you may, to generally recharge, to ponder, to strategize, to see where you are at, to see if you are doing the right things, and to especially not be lazy as a man, to actually have more time and more clarity to attack on the strategies that hopefully will get you closer to Allah and will make you a better Muslim on a day-to-day basis. But solitude is a big thing. Al-uzla.
You've opened a beautiful topic here, which is actually a question I did want to ask you. And what do you think defines a man? What is it? That topic is very there's been a lot of debate. Subhanallah. Are there a number of things that you think?
Yeah. Well, a man, Allah Azza wa Jal described the man in the Quran by saying, رِجَالٌ لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة يخافون يوما تتقلب فيه القلوب والأبصار. Men that رجال لا تلهيهم, they don't get distracted by no tijara. Which tijara, here Allah Azza wa Jal could have said anything else, but tijara is something that any person, especially a man, will be inclined to. So if anything would distract you, would be, how am I going to buy bread tomorrow? However, Allah Azza wa Jal said, these are men, i.e. the Sahaba, that no tijara, no wealth seeking distracts them, but rather they fear a day where, and Allah Azza wa Jalla describes it here in a very scary way, تتقلب فيه القلوب والأبصار, a day where hearts will be flipped upside down and eyes will be flipped upside down. Like everybody will be, basically the worst situation you can be is you don't even know where you are. Your eyes are literally just maqluba, looking behind, upside down. And so these are the men that Allah Azza wa Jalla, it's not Andrew Tate, it's not no David Goggins, no whoever else is calling to these red pills and all this men, how to be a man type of thing. They don't even clean their pee-pee when they go to the toilet. So what are you talking about being a man? You don't even know how to clean yourself, according to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. So these are the real men. Real men is those who submit to the most powerful creation in this whole universe, which is Allah Azza wa Jal. That's what will make you the most powerful and the most mithali, exemplar men that you can ever be.
SubhanAllah. I remember there was a video I was watching. I'm not too sure if this is correct, but you probably could clarify this one for me. Is that poverty is only mentioned once in the Quran, and it's mentioned when Allah Subhanahu wa Taala speaks about Iblis promising you poverty, and never again is poverty mentioned in the Quran. Is that true, or is?
You could say that poverty is indirectly, perhaps the kalima faqr. يعيدكم الشيطان يعيدكم الفقر. I know which ayah you're talking about. But yeah, it could be accurate if we're talking about the word faqr. No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Subhanallah. And for the context of the talk, the Sheikh was speaking, he was saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions risk so much throughout the Quran
Mm.
and only mentions poverty once. And it wasn't that he promises you poverty if you do X amount or of things incorrect or the sins that you do. And he said that it's that Iblis promises you poverty.
No.
And it's, subhanAllah, makes you think to yourself, like, what am I even worried about in this dunya?
Yep.
Like, it's gonna come. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the birds leave their nests and they come back with a full belly.
Yep.
And he consistently tells you that everything on this earth is provided for in its due portion.
No.
So where's the worry in life?
Literally.
Subhanallah. So that's just like a reflection I wanted to add to pretty much like shift gears to another topic, inshallah. But everybody comes across somebody in their life that motivates them, whether it be to be exactly like them or push them to the right direction, or maybe you meet somebody who makes you feel like you need to do the complete opposite of what this person does in order for you to feel like you're on the right track.
Mm.
Do you have that person in your life, or have you had that incident in your life that's caused you any transformations or anything of that?
I've definitely had a lot of people that motivated me through my life. I usually talk about I had a very random, for a period of time, basketball coach that literally pushed me to my limits. And even though it was related to basketball and related to physical strength, and it did unlock something in me and made me realize that I wasn't doing enough. There was just different people that I've met throughout my life, and how they made me believe like, yo, you can actually memorize the Quran and read it in one sitting. Like, that was something I couldn't even realize. Every time I heard, yeah, this person memorized the Quran, in my mind was like, well, like, is able to know which ayah. Like, I never imagined somebody can sit down and actually read it from the top of their head. There was some brothers that said things to me that stuck with me. Like, there was one brother, for example, which, funny enough, I'm not even cool with him at this point being, but still, he said something to me that stuck with me, which he said, it was so simple, but it was eye opening. He said, you can be a scholar, right? Like, it's not because he didn't say that. He just said, you can be a scholar, right? That was the whole topic of the conversation. And I was like, yeah, I think, yeah, makes sense. Why do I have to be an Arab? Why do I have to be from Saudi to be a scholar? So, there was my sister's ex-husband. I remember when I was younger, when I was like 12, he said something to me that stuck with me. He said, if you don't go to this basketball practice, you will never be good at. So these type of things stuck with me. You can even call it trauma, to be honest, because it made me realize it perhaps like unlocked certain things in me to want to shut people's mouths. I do love to shut people's mouths many times. It's a very stable characteristic in me, and I tend to do what people tells me, and what people tells me is you're not gonna be able to do it. Like, for example, before we actually developed our new curriculum, كشف المفردات, unveiling vocabulary, there was one of the teachers. He basically came to me. He said, it's you have to compete against Arabic in Headache. It's gonna take too long. It's gonna be too much. You are doing all of these. Basically, he gave me like 10 reasons why not do it. I said, listen, I'm not scared of any of these things you said. I will still do it. And alhamdulillah, a year later, we did it. And so I tend to feed off negativity a lot, and anger, and which I think I've heard is a very common thing from other people. When I hear them talk about if they're good at something, most of the times we all agree on these type of things. Like, I actually love hate. Like, I actually need somebody to hate and say something bad for me to actually want to do it. Or I thrive through competition as well. But a specific person has never been somebody who I said, 90% I want to be like this person. I always looked at people who I see they have something very, very like they have done so great. And I think, how can I do it better than them? Like literally, this morning I was reading about Sibawayh, how in 32 years he wrote Al-Kitab. I was like, ah, man, I'm 32 already. How can I do something greater than him? You know what I mean? And I guess it's a fadl, and sometimes I force myself to think like that, because it generally everything starts with your mindset. If you start to be uncertain about something, you're not even gonna start the thing. So I think that my inner speech is quite extreme in many ways, and many times I don't even feel comfortable saying how I talk to myself internally, because most people want look at it as a normal thing.
Yeah.
But I literally thrive off trauma and negativity and hate and yeah, things like that,
So you
basically.
watched the Michael Jordan documentary, I think? No, you haven't watched
Michael
it?
Jordan, I think I did watch
The
it.
Last Dance?
I don't know if I watched it fully, because it was literally for inspiration for our Hidden Cost of Success documentary that
Yeah.
we did last year. And
In
I
the
was looking
la-
at different documentaries.
so in the documentary, basically, the MJ was talking about how the way like the people around used to talk about how the way he used to create stories.
Hmm.
Like, so somebody would, for example, say something to him and he twist it to be something way more extreme than what they had
Oh,
said,
no.
in order for him to go out and score 45 or
Mm.
score 50 or end up winning the game on a flu when he had the
Mm.
flu or whatever it was. And sometimes the mentality is just different on certain people,
Yeah.
subhanAllah.
Yeah, literally.
So, alhamdulillah, I think I'm getting the signal that we might be running out of time. So, I'll just quickly ask: Is that correct, Faisal? Have we got a lot more time, or I'm putting him on the spot? Don't worry, bro. The camera's this way. Inshallah. So, I think just for the sake of time, inshallah, I'll put forward this last question, inshallah, or this last discussion, um, based on the experience that Muhammad Al-Andalusi, is that correct?
Yeah, and then there's yeah.
Al-Andalusi. I don't know how to speak. I'm not Spanish, you know what I mean? But based on the experiences that you've had and the life that you've lived, what is the next step for you? And what do you recommend somebody who doesn't know what their next step is? What do you recommend they do, inshallah?
For me personally, my next step is just bigger of what we already doing, pretty much, and what I'm already doing. I realized I cannot sit still and not be building something great. And most of the times for other people, I actually thrive seeing people, using something I have built, and it changes them in their life. So I'll probably just be doing this. I'm a type of person that I will have 15 ideas in the space of 15 minutes. And always the thing I struggle the most with is forcing myself to stay on the path of what I'm already doing. So that's me personally. As for somebody who is looking to see what they want to do and what their path is, it's just try different things and not be scared of trying, and knowing that what's the expression I'm looking for? I'm actually gonna pull it out because this was very beneficial.
Where is it?
Wait, let me see. I actually wrote it like a couple. I heard it and I was like, man, I gotta write this on my notes from how beneficial it was.
You have your little fawaid notes as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes certain quotes, it really hits you like, wow, yeah, that's facts. So the quote was, more is lost with indecision than wrong decision. And it hit me so more is lost with indecision than wrong decision. It hit me because people tend to say I'm very hasty. And I change things around very quick. I mess it up, bring it back, fix it, come back again to the same thing that we did before. Try something new, completely different of what we have been planning for the past 3 weeks. Change it from one night to another. I don't say nothing to anybody. And so all the things that I've been accomplishing in my life, it was most of the times out of a hasty decision, according to most people. For me, is the longer I stay in the time of this indecisionness, the more I'm wasting time and mental energy. And so this is what I'm saying, for this person to try as many things as possible, as fast as possible. As soon as you feel it's not the thing you should be doing, change to the next thing. And I'm talking about trying different things. Like, I don't know, maybe one day you wake up and you're like, yo, I want to be a baker. Go and try it. Maybe you realize that is like, there's never failure. It's only realizing this is the thing I shouldn't be doing. And perhaps throughout that month that you do this, you will learn a skill that will be transferable to that ultimate thing that you will be doing. And I can see this in my experience, as you asked me. When I was little, when I was younger, I did percussion. Percussion, they call it in English?
Yeah, the percussion,
Yeah.
yeah, the drums.
So drums, I did graffiti, I did taekwondo, I did boxing, I did basketball. That was my main thing. I did do dance, crump dancing, which in 2009 I became the champion of Europe for that particular genre. Like, I did a whole lot of things, and people, a lot of the times, they used to say, you will be good at anything you do and you put yourself to. Why? Because I was like that from young. Like, I can do this, I can do this the same way. And then I always look at who does it better, and then I just replicate that person. And so when you actively trying all of these different things, you will gather a bunch of transferable skills. Why Andres Institute today is very known is because these little transferable skills that I have from here, from there, from graffiti, that creativity, eye for aesthetics, knowing what font to use, what font not to use. I did multi-level marketing, which helped my public speaking, which helped me be comfortable in front of the camera. I did all the businesses I did talk to people that I would feel uncomfortable talking to, the average person will feel uncomfortable talking to. And so in all of these little things that then you realize you don't want to do this for the rest of your life, you gain transferable skills, and skills that on the ultimate thing, it will make you it will make you better than the average person at that thing. Like this year, like I said, I want to be a full stack developer. People told me, you are a CEO, you entrepreneur, you have a whole team. Why would you take time off to learn full stack developer? Just get developers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, I want to learn it myself. I want to get in there. I want to, now I understand how database work. I am able to be very comfortable with things like Airtable, softwares like Airtable, which is, softwares that companies like I think Rockefeller uses. I'm able to now. I generally feel like I can build any app, any. Now my struggle is stopping myself from starting a new product or starting a new offer or starting a new business. And so try things, test things out. Don't fear that it might not be your thing or whatever, or that you're gonna waste time. Rather, you are getting yourself into different things that will allow you to develop your skills in general, and it will allow you to take transferable skills from different places.
SubhanAllah, that's brilliant advice.
Yeah.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you, akhi. Thank you
جزاكم
so
الله
much
خيرا
for
وإياكم.
joining us. Is there anything, I'll leave the floor to you. Is there anything you want to say before we wrap up? Obviously, we're going to have all the links to Al-Andalusi Institute, inshallah, in the links below.
Yeah.
And you probably already know him, but we'll put his socials all over, inshallah, in the description.
خيرا.
But I'll leave the floor to you if you want to add anything or say anything, inshallah, to the audience.
Nothing else, man. Just I always think, what is it that if I die, may Allah give us long lives upon His ibadah. If I die, what do I want people to watch and just be reminded of? And I can't think but just think of this qawl of Ibn Qadam al-Maqdisi, where he says, وَكَانَ السَّلَفُ يُؤْثِرُونَ الْعِلْمَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. And the Salaf, they used to give priority to knowledge above everything. At one point, you're going to die. In your grave, you're going to be alone. And the only thing that can keep you company, it might be your deeds. And your deeds will be better and bigger if you have had more knowledge in your life. So knowledge is always the thing to go to, and I'll always be, and I hope that Allah will keep me on this path. And I ask Him that I always hope to stay on this path and die upon it, whether it's as a lover of knowledge, whether it's as a seeker of knowledge, whether it's as a somebody who's financing all the knowledge seekers, whatever it might be. I just need to stick on this path and not be distracted by dunya. So I hope that that other people that's the same, inshallah, because that's generally the best thing, that the best people that lived in this earth from Sahaba and Tabi'in, Atba Tabi'in, but the next generations of scholars that came, what they did, and is the best thing to do after your obligations as a Muslim. No.
Akhi Muhammad, Barakallah Feek. Thank you so much for joining
Barakallah.
us. May Allah reward you. Like, comment, subscribe. All of the links will be in the description, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.